Nope.
Really again?
Yep. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Today is Denim Day, and we are going live to raise awareness about denim and Denim Day awareness. So, first, we're gonna talk about the origins of Denim Day. So, Denim Day is an awareness day, a international campaign to raise awareness against sexual assault. And this is because in 1992, there was a girl in Italy who was raped by her driving instructor. And initially he was convicted, but then he appealed and the case went all the way to the Supreme Court, the Italian Supreme Court, and they ruled that it could not have been a rape because they said her jeans that she was wearing was too tight and she would have had to help the man take off the jeans, and therefore making it consensual and no longer an assault. So that was overturned. And in protest, people have been wearing denim to say that sexual assault is never your fault, and to raise awareness about consent. So the first Denim Day was in 1999. So we've been doing this for over a decade now.
Over 2 decades.
Every 2 decades.
It's
oh my
2020.
gosh, it's 2020.
Welcome to 2020.
2 decades. Yeah. So so it's a great way to raise awareness, and we're asking everyone to wear their denim today and post pictures of them wearing denim with the hashtags sexual assault, never your fault, and make sure you tag WSave Boise so we can find your images and post them to our social media.
Yeah. So today we're going to talk a little bit about what consent actually looks like and what consent should consist of. So we have an acronym. It's from Planned Parenthood, but it's one that we use in all of our workshops when we talk about consent. Becca actually wrote this backwards so that it would appear forwards on the screen, which was a wild thing to watch. She just automatically knew how to write backwards, didn't even have to think about it. So that was bizarre, but now we have a sign to use. So the acronym is FRIES. The F stands for freely given. So when we talk about consent, you want consent to be freely given. You don't want one partner to have to say, please, 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 or to have to coerce or convince the other to give consent. So if it is a coerced yes, then that's not actually consent.
It is reversible. So if you say yes to one thing, you can say no to something else. If you say yes to something at one time, you can say, you know what, I changed my mind. I don't want to do that thing.
Yep. Consent can always be revoked.
Yeah.
Informed. So when you are giving consent, you are informed of what you are actually consenting to. So whether or not that person has STIs or STDs, or if you are having sex with someone or a sexual act, what that will actually consist of. So knowing exactly what you're going to be doing with that person before you do it.
Enthusiastic. So consent should always be enthusiastic. You shouldn't have if someone seems hesitant or reluctant or they're not quite sure, it's important to have that conversation of like, okay, this is what I would like. How would you feel about that? And make sure that you're all on the same page. If they're seeming not quite ready or hesitant at all, it's best to just stop and wait until the consent in the affirmative yes is given enthusiastically.
And it's always okay to have those check-in moments to make sure that someone is still enthusiastic about what's happening.
Yeah, we were actually just having a conversation about how hard it is to bring up these things in a relationship. And yeah, it is really difficult, but it's super important to make sure that everyone is feeling good and comfortable.
Yeah. And the last letter of FRIES, S, is specific. So when you are consenting, you want to consent to a specific act, knowing exactly what will be happening and what you're doing so that each person is on the same page is really important.
Yeah. So that's the consent acronym.
Yeah. So a few questions when we do this in classrooms or in groups. I had a question a while back from a student who asked, okay, what about if you're married? Do you need FRIES? Which was shocking for me to hear, to ask if you still need consent in marriage, but important anyway. So no matter the relationship, if you're married, if you're dating, if it's something that you've done before with this person, you still need consent to do anything with that person, both sexual and non-sexual. You still need consent with partners. So when we're talking about Sexual Assault Awareness Month, we still need to recognize that no matter the relationship you can have with someone, consent still needs to follow this FRIES acronym.
So what we're going to talk about next. Oh, we have some comments.
We're looking down at our computer because that's how we can see what you all are saying.
Yeah. Hi, Christine. Hello,
Hi,
Chris. Yeah, JVC Northwest, if you're watching. Hello from the JV house. And thank you. I don't know how Chris said outstanding effort for writing backwards. I don't know why that is a skill I have, but it's something that comes in handy every now and then.
Yeah.
And today was one of those days.
Today was the day.
Today was the day. Do you want to pull up that?
Yeah.
All right. So the next thing we're going to talk about is how to support someone who might disclose to you that this has happened to them, that they've gone through something like a sexual assault or rape or anything of that nature. So first thing you want to do is listen without judgment. So listen to their story, let them tell their story in their own words, and make sure you're not putting words in their mouth. So whatever you want to mimic, whatever words they're using, and be a supportive listener in that, in telling the story. Listen non-judgmentally, and yeah.
Yep, I think it's also really important to let them know that you believe them, to say, I believe you, whatever has happened to you, I believe that, and that kind of recognition is really important to say on the first disclosure, because that will kind of dictate how, if they will disclose again and how they will handle the situation that they've been through. So showing them that support and letting them know that you believe them can really help them move forward with however they want to handle the situation.
Yeah. And make sure you're focusing on the person who's telling you this, who's disclosing, and not focusing on the person who committed the act. So not focusing on the person who abused or sexually assaulted them, just making sure that you're giving your friend the support and letting them know that you're there for them.
Mm-hmm. You also don't have to have all the answers. It's okay to say that you don't have an answer for that, but knowing where to get that information. So knowing that you can call the WCA's sexual assault hotline, or you can visit the WCA's website, or you can go to other resources like Love is Respect to find those answers that you might not have in that moment.
Yeah, and just to let you all know, again, we've been making sure that everyone knows that the WCA is still open. So if this has happened to you or someone you know, the WCA's resources are still available for people who've experienced sexual assault or domestic violence. Yeah, and if you're not in Boise, there's probably an agency like the WCA around you that you can find by calling the WCA's hotline, and they will be able to refer you to those agencies.
Awesome. So beyond how to support a friend and knowing how to receive and give consent, we want to talk a little bit about changing the culture. So sexual assault falls under the umbrella term of sexual harassment, which is verbal things that you might not consent to or make you uncomfortable, or even looks that someone gives you can be sexual harassment. So when we're talking about sexual harassment and sexual assault, we want to think about how we as a society and a culture can change that and make it so that those things are not normalized and happen less and less, that we can be in a thriving and safe community. Yeah. So speaking up when you hear harmful language is really important. A lot of times we normalize sexual harassment in the form of jokes or degrading comments, and people will hide behind the fact that it's a joke. And simply doing something, as much as not laughing when you hear those jokes, can let people know that that's not okay and not something that should be laughed about. If you're more comfortable saying things like, you don't know who's in the room, there could be a survivor in the room and that's not very funny, or that's something that real people experience and is harmful, is also a really good way to shut down the harmful comments that can kind of normalize sexual assault and harassment.
Yeah. Also, something we just talked about, we talked about believing all survivors, so that's definitely important. Disclosing that something like this has happened to you can be, there's a lot of emotions that come with that. It can be embarrassing, it can be, you can definitely be afraid of what people will think of you, so it's really important to believe them. But also, kind of like what we were just saying, make sure to promote healthy relationships and boundaries and positive communication skills in all your relationships. And yeah, like I said, we were just talking about this, and even though I have been serving at the Women's and Children's Alliance and I learn about all these things and learn about boundaries and how to communicate, it's still a daily practice and something that I definitely have to work on, so that and we all have to work on daily in all our relationships.
I think too, when we talk about practicing those skills that are necessary in our relationships, I think practicing consent is really important, not just with people that you're in romantic relationships with, but with friends and coworkers and people as well that you're going to even have conversations with. So saying, are you in the right headspace to talk about this conversation right now, or to talk about this topic, or can I give you a hug? And practicing consent in those ways is also really important and helpful.
Yeah, I think that would really normalize, because in a romantic relationship, in that kind of intimate physical relationship, it could be really awkward and uncomfortable to bring up things that you would like to do, or like anything like that. So practicing it in a daily context, so like normalizing it, and can ease that discomfort, I think.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And working to create a world where everyone knows that abuse and assault are not okay and it's never the victim's fault. So that's a lot about what Denim Day is about, raising that awareness to know that no matter what anyone says or does, sexual assault is never their fault if they've been assaulted.
Yeah, I think the hashtag that the WCA came up with this year was sexual assault, never your fault. And if I forget what road it's on, but there's a highway with a billboard, and you might have seen it up there a couple times. I got to see it a couple times driving by.
Cool.
It's pretty cool. But yeah, I think we still unfortunately live in a culture where people who disclose these kinds of things are met with a lot of almost like suspicion or disbelief or a lot of doubt. So trying to let everyone know that we're all here to support them, and especially the survivors in our community and the Boise community, let them know that WCA is here and we all believe them and all that. Yeah,
really important. So if anyone has any questions, we'd be happy to answer them.
Laura. Hi, Laura. She says, love the denim fireplace.
Thank you. This is all Becca's doing. She's the creative mind behind this.
Set dresser?
Set designer.
Yeah, we had these leftover we made a lot of denim ribbons and then had some jeans. So we made a little backdrop for ourselves. Yeah. No fire today for our fireplace, but...
No, it's a little too warm for that.
It's a little too warm for that.
A little too warm. We still got on our double denim.
Still got double denim.
Still making it work. Yeah, so continue to post your pictures. We love seeing them. It's really great to see the community supporting survivors and raising awareness for sexual assault. What else do we have?
Yeah.
When's the concert?
Oh, there is a concert tonight. There's a virtual concert at 7 p.m., I believe. We're just going to double check that to make sure. But our Lisa put together
Steve Eaton's
Eaton
live concert for Denim Day at 7 p.m. on the WCA's channel.
Yeah, make sure to check that out, because
that'll be really fun. Yeah, that'll be cool to watch. Yeah, and then Tracy said, are there any documentaries or series we can watch to raise our awareness? Yes, there's a really good documentary on Netflix called Audrey and Daisy about sexual assault and harassment and the repercussions of it for survivors on Netflix. It is difficult to watch, but really important, and sheds some great light on what survivors go through on a daily basis. So thank you for that question, Tracy.
Yeah. Just to let everyone know, the WCA is still open and our services are still available for anyone who might need them. So if you are experiencing domestic abuse, or you know someone who might be in an unsafe or unhealthy relationship, or is experiencing some kind of sexual assault or child abuse, you can call the WCA's hotline. It's 208-343-7025, and they are still available to help you. You can also, if it's not safe for you to make a call, you can go to our crisis center at 720 West Washington. Yeah.
Great. All right. Any other questions for today? Thank you all. And join us tomorrow night, right? For Take Back the Night.
Take Back the Night is tomorrow. And just to give a little background on that, it is a national, maybe international foundation, Take Back the Night. They put on this event on the last Thursday of Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and they have 10 points of light across the nation. So WCA was lucky enough to be chosen as one of the 10 points of light. So we're going to be doing a virtual event to support survivors of sexual assault and light up Boise with that. But yeah, let's see.
Another Netflix series is Unbelievable, about not supporting survivors. So that's another one that someone just commented to go and watch.
Yeah, there's a lot of different, I think there's one, I forget where it is, but The Hunting Ground, about sexual assault on college campuses. That would also be a good one to check out. It's on Hulu, if you have Hulu. But yeah, there's lots of ways to stay informed, especially today and tomorrow as we end Sexual Assault Awareness Month. But just make sure you're following WCA's social media pages and watching the Instagram stories and yeah, reposting and sharing when you can, and especially posting your Denim Day pictures today.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you all. We appreciate it. And we will hopefully see you tomorrow night to light up the night.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, thanks.
Thanks, everybody.